one more time, without further ado, the man that we can all get behind, because we can get behind that. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. William Shatner, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello there. Thank you for coming out. Pleasure to see you. Welcome to be in Sacramento. And I'm very grateful that you're here. So, and that was the weirdest introduction I have ever had. It's like morning news and then, oh yeah, Shatner's here. So, a couple of years ago, a guy in Australia, where am I going with this story, you're all asking, said to me, would I do a one-man show there in Australia? And it's a one-man show by its very nature is one man. And so that's a big job to entertain people for a period of time and make it worth the price of the ticket. So, but I thought, hey, it's Australia. If I fail, nobody will know. So I said yes, and then they had a form that they liked. There was somebody else on stage with me, and the person, local celebrity, asked me questions, and I would try and answer them to be as informative and as amusing and charming and brilliant as usual. And so the first show went well, so then another city asked me, finally I did 6 cities in Australia, and it went very well. And then Canada said, would I do that show? So they supplied local people. So I sat on the stage and talked and made my way across Canada. And finally, with some success, and in Toronto, Broadway said, would I come to New York and do it on Broadway? So then I thought, hey, this one-man show has 2 people in it. I'll make it one-man show. And I rewrote it and restaged it. And then opening night in New York on Broadway, one-man show. And the night before, my wife and my agent and I were having dinner, and it was at a nice restaurant, and they ordered fish. And I thought, no, I'm not going to order fish. I mean, you never know about fish. And you get sick, and I got an opening tomorrow on a one-man show in New York. No, I'll have a hamburger. Wouldn't you know it, I woke up the next morning and I was in. Yeah, I felt that way too. Oh. Somebody asked me, what's the best sound in the world? Oh, that's the best sound. And so there I was facing a Broadway opening by myself on stage and sick. So sick that leaving the bathroom for more than 3 minutes was very dangerous. In fact, this is maybe more information than you need. In the middle of the show, I said, there's been a technical difficulty, I'll be right back. So that was very successful, and I don't mean running up the stairs, I mean the show itself was successful. And then I toured. Now I've toured, 40 cities in the last year or so with this one-man show called Shatner's World. And I filmed it, and all this is by way of saying, on April 24th, at a movie theater near you, one time only, my one-man show will be there. So I urge you to, on April 24th, be a part of that night. It's going to be very exciting. Yeah, it's not quite unique, but it's unusual. And so I'm thrilled. So I just got to get people into 700 theaters across the country. All right. So what I'll do now is I'll take questions and I'll try and answer them as illogically as I can, but with intelligence and insight, of course. So ask me a question and I'll ramble on forget what the original question was, but between us we'll have some fun. You've gotten, I take it you've got it set up for a question, right? Yes? Yes? No? No? Oh, I just barely assumed there was a mic. Oh, thank you.
I have a question.
My heart was in my mouth. I was about to say there's a technical difficulty.
I thought you're doing the Comedy Central roast, that you were such a good sport to do that.
Wasn't I, though?
You were. And I thought your entrance on horseback was genius. So I was surprised to read in your book, Shatner Rules, that it was a little bit daunting for you. So I want to know how they approached you about that. How much notice ahead of time did you get that you were
For the horse, or
for the riding in on the horse?
Well, you know, those of you who know horses, and those of you who don't, I'm about to explain. Horses are herd animals, and they're prey animals. Everybody eats a horse in the wild. So they're all like, you know, something's going to happen. I know something's going to happen. And they'll dart away at the slightest impression of danger. And that's part of the problem of being on a spooky horse, is you don't know which way it's going to go. Frequently it goes this way and you go that way. And that leads to a severing of the relationship. So riding this horse, more people than are here this afternoon were in that theater where I rode the horse. And I rode the horse in, like, among tables. So the question was, how do you desensitize a horse among all those people? Now the police, have you ever thought about how do the police desensitize their horses where people are banging things and pushing and maybe shooting guns, and the police horses just move around? It takes years to desensitize them. And even then, police get into trouble sometimes. Even, what's the guy who crossed the Alps? Hannibal. Hannibal! Where's he going with this? Hannibal crossed the Alps during 2,000 years ago in a campaign to raid Rome with elephants. Okay? So now he makes it finally with 1/3 the elephants he started with into Italy. And he starts moving down the boot of Italy with elephants. Now the Roman cavalry, on horses, because that's what cavalry means, charge Hannibal, and the elephants raise their trunk and scream, and the horses turn tail. And Hannibal did a lot of his winning because the horses weren't desensitized to elephants. They, in fact, had to circle around. Imagine the intelligence. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, why don't we just ride around? Oh, what a great idea! You're going to be a general! And they rode around and attacked from the back, and Hannibal had to do something else. Finally, he was defeated. The point is, the horses needed to be desensitized, and I'm looking at this white horse thinking, what have they done to protect me when I go around a table with the guys all drinking? And how do you desensitize a horse to a drunk? And I just got on the horse and rode on, and the horse was great, and that was it. Now, isn't that fun? You ask a question about a horse, you get a history lesson and everything.